All right, welcome in everybody. And today is Tech Friday. Yay! Right here on twitch.tv/DC Lasair. Hope you're all doing well. Afternoon, hey. All right, hold on here. I'm hearing myself in a lot of places. Okay, now I'm not hearing myself in a lot of places. Even better. Hey, Prax, welcome on in. Glad to see ya. So today, we're covering audio routing. We're also covering audio routing with the Rodecaster Duo, which is its own beast and took a while to get my head around. Audio routing. It's complicated at the best times. Now, number of weeks ago, I introduced everybody to Mixline, which is fantastic software. If you can get the beta, yay, go for it. I highly encourage it. It makes having things go where they need to go easy, and you don't have to mess with your settings in Windows. So, with that in mind, we also have the Rodecaster Duo, yay! Which, there's some software called Rode Connect that you can download, and it basically lets you do the same thing you can do on the touch screen. So let me go to the demo window and see if the camera comes up. And hey, look at that. All right. So Rodecaster Duo on the right, here the software on the left. So yeah, when you start this up, it asks you to pick what you want. Main is you can do something in the Rodecaster Duo called make a show. Oh, my thing is interfering with where chat is. Hold on. Let me move myself up a bit. Or maybe up here. Up here today, maybe? Okay, let's go up here today. So, you can download the software, and the Rodecaster Duo lets you to do shows. Now, you can see I have this mic that you can just see the top of in the view here. This is a Shure SM7B. It's plugged right into the back of the Rodecaster Duo. Let me zoom out a bit. Get you the whole thing. Oops. Oh, that's most of my desk. But yeah. So there is part of it. Doing it live, folks. I tried to plug in another camera, but then I discovered I didn't have a long enough cord. Let's see if we can get the whole thing in. Yeah. Plus you get my Stream Deck, so, bonus. So here's the Rodecaster Duo. A lot of buttons, a lot of switches. Knobs up here. So in the back here are two XLR inputs. Let me just take my camera off because I'm leaning in right now. Okay, so two XLR inputs in the back. There where my finger is kind of pointing. There. And then you have a bunch of other things. You can either use this wirelessly or plug in a network wire. That's right about here. And one of the keys to all of this is the two USB cords that you can plug in right here. They're USB-C. There's a 1 and a 2, and we'll get over why that's important in a minute. And of course, power right here. It goes to a power brick. You can see my microphone is on input 1, and you see my line right there as I talk. So yay! So let's start with some setup. So we'll concentrate on the screen first. Oh, the knobs here. These two knobs are for two sets of headphones. So you can set two headphones to this and then control the volume of those headphones here and here. And then this knob does all your virtual inputs, and you turn it and press it to move around menus and things like that. These pads here, you can equip sounds to. If you're good with MIDI stuff, you can program these pads to do MIDI things. But basically, they're sound pads. You can even, through using MIDI, have these buttons set up to control your OBS. Now, I have Stream Deck controlling OBS, so I'm not going to go through that setup. But if you want to, you totally can control all your scenes on these pads. These are all virtual pads. You hit these buttons here, and you get, it looks so cool. Yeah, it does. These buttons here will take you through different menu options. So I think I have 8 pages of 6 virtual buttons. So that's what, 48? I don't know. I'm not a math person. Yeah, so I can do things like this one's set to a trombone. Like that, yeah. So, and that sound comes with the pad. You can also set these pads up to do sounds from your computer, so you can set a certain sound file to it, and you would do that with the software here. All right, and these buttons up here above the 4 sliders get you to kind of instant routing menu access. So there it goes. I can process this channel. They light up. These down here are interesting. Now, it really only works if I had headphones plugged in right here. So I could plug in like a Bluetooth connector thingy here. But what this allows you to do, what these buttons here allow you to do, is you can mute a thing to a stream, right? I hit a button, like I hit this, you're gonna, and now you hear me talk again. But the green ones allow you to listen to the channels. So you can have the channel muted to your stream, but you can be listening to it locally through your own headphones. And that's amazing. So you can you could set up your audio, if you had your audio set to people in Discord and you didn't want them to hear you, but you wanted to hear them, you could mute to them and still listen to what they're saying. It's amazing. This oh man, there's so much to go over. I had an order in my mind and now it's just out the window. So, as you can see, this first channel here is the XLR mic going into the back. And can't really, you can route it, you can change some stuff on here for the mic, but it is just a microphone input. Now, a lot of the magic is going to happen on the screen here. Let me see if I can zoom in. By the way, to do this image, I'm using something called Droidcam, which is an app you download on your Android or iOS device, and then you add it as a source to OBS, and it works over Wi-Fi. So you can set up your phone as an extra camera. So let me zoom in, if I remember how. And then position. Oops, hey, that's my finger. All right, so that's a little better view of the pad. You can see all the sounds going out right up here. And again, my microphone here. Now, if I hit this button right here, you can see the pad changes. And they have some setups for certain mics. Hey! Thank you. Come on in. Welcome on in, Lore. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it, but hey, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Watching over on the YouTube. All right. They have presets for certain mics, especially Rode microphones. And I can, just scroll through, and you can set up condenser mics and just regular, broadcast procaster mics, as they call them. Can set up the Rode wireless thing. Dynamic or condenser, you can just select one. Or an instrument, right? And use the line in. If you can see all that. Now I'm going to go back to... So since this is the Shure SM7B, and it's one that they support, I put it right there, right? As you can see, I have gain. Now, the Shure SM7B is known for not having a lot of gain. It's known for a lot of things. It's known for being a very cool mic, but a lot of times you also need to plug in a extra device called, there's one by, I think it's called Cloudflare, something like that, that boosts the gain on it. Well, in this thing, you don't need that extra device. In fact, if you use one of those devices and then plug that into the back of the Rodecaster, it will introduce noise. So if you have the Shure SM7B or a mic like that, and you're using a hardware device to boost the gain, take that out of your setup and just plug the mic right in, so you don't get extra noise. But as you can see, I have my gain level right here. I got it high because my voice is sometimes low. And typically you want your voice bouncing where you see that this green line right there. You want your voice bouncing into there. So you want to set your gain up so you get your voice into the green. All right, and then over here is processing. This is the whole thing. You can make your own presets. If I turn off advanced, I'll show you. Oh, wait. Cancel that. Actually, no, that's fine. My voice may change to you, so don't panic. Advanced. I have this all saved as a preset, so clear. Okay, so now when you first start off, you have these three: depth, sparkle, punch. And remember the knob I talked about over here? This knob right here. This will let me, I press it down, and then I can control what they call depth, sparkle, punch. And you get very easy settings. And then processing, if it has the green circle, it's on. So all these are on, or you can shut it off. If you go to advanced, now you have this whole menu here, which works like when I talked about using VSTs in your setup before. This does all that stuff, and it's built right in. So let me go back to my preset here. I call this the master preset. They have a neutral podcast studio and broadcast. I just created one for the master audio, so I know that that's what it is. And the ones that you make, you can delete if you're unhappy with them. So you can have a bunch of different audio profiles just right here, ready to go. You can make as many as you want. So now that that's set, and I can click one of these, and now I have access to a high pass filter. Click the button again, a de-esser, which is for the S and the T's to kind of take out the harshness of your S's. Noise gate, compressor, equalizer, exciter. I like exciter. Panning. Usually leave panning alone. There's plenty of videos on setting them up, so just try out. Find something for your voice. Or if you don't want to get that complicated, oops. Oh, right, I had hit a button. This one. And then I can go back to the presets and tell I'm still on my normal microphone preset. So amazing. There is a quick setup when you first turn this thing on. There's a power button in the back, and you don't have to go through this. Believe me, this is all connected. I just had to pick a place to start, so I thought I'd go over the features, and then we'll get into audio routing, and that's where the real magic comes in. But I want to have a listing of sort of feature sets in your mind, so that the rest of it makes sense, hopefully. And you notice up here, I'm listening through my AirPods, so the Bluetooth thing is on. You set that up in the menus. Speaker is on. I can see left, right. OBS shows me that the channel is going. So settings, let's see here. Where was it? Was it system? Yeah. System, Bluetooth. You can see I'm paired to AirPods. I can disconnect that if I want to. So everything I do on here, you know, when I make the air horn, I hear the air horn through the headphones because it's on the pad and it's all internal to the pad. You can even record multiple mixes to things as well. You can set the mix, like if you want one mix going out to stream and then you record another audio mix, you can do that. So you can have different mixes, you can have different things going out and in. Now, one of the things that confused me when looking at the audio routing tables and like Windows and everything is that each channel here, let's see here, what's a good way to point at these? Each of these channels here is an input and an output. So if you're setting up in Windows, you want it to be going to the same input and output, and it tells you what ones they go to. And you can change what these are too. I'll get to that in a moment. So right here, like, so the message here, select Rodecaster Duo main as the output device on your computer. So everything I want to go through the Rodecaster Duo main channel, I have to make sure, you know, it says Rodecaster Duo main for input and output. If you're just doing the normal Windows setting things. Ooh, fancy, yeah! Hey, Chaotic Ultimate Presents, watching on YouTube, welcome on in. Thanks, I like being able to see both chats like this, that's pretty awesome. Okay, so one of the things we can do as well is, if I remember, I've only had this device like 2 days, so it's taking me a minute. So faders, and I can move any of these faders over. If I had another XLR mic, I could move this over, and then the physical faders here will control that, and I can change these colors. I can change the colors of these buttons here. But I can move these virtual ports. If I had a Bluetooth mic, I could move that to a fader. Otherwise, I control it by the large knob. You control all your virtual faders by this knob here. And you just press it. So in a way, you have access to more faders. Now, I mentioned the USB. There's 2 USB-C lines in the back. And if you plug them both in, you get 3 virtual channels, essentially. So USB input 1, which is what you're going to be using to plug into your computer anyway, will give you this one here, and it will give you this chat one. Basically virtual audio connections, right? So you'll have this, and then USB 2 just gives you this one line. And again, to route things to them, you can click the buttons here, or you can go in another menu, but to route things to them, so, you know, color keys, so you notice the orange under the 1 relates to the orange here, that affects this slider. So everything Rodecaster Duo main as the output for everything going through that channel. Rodecaster Duo chat for everything going to that channel. And Rodecaster Duo secondary for everything going through that channel. The inputs you see there, and oh, by the way, this one on the end with the buttons, that's for these pads on the side here. That controls these volumes. So I have it set as a virtual thing. If I wanted to go over to it, notice that it automatically goes to the virtual ones. 1, 2, and now I'm on the pad here, and I can turn it up and down just by twisting the dial. And then when I'm done, I hit it again. And, you know, that controls the volume of the applause. You can see the meter went up when I hit the button related to applause. And to change that, that's easy. That's settings, smart pads in the upper corner here. And then you have, eventually, as you create more pages, you can get more stuff. So I have my sensor button. I have, these sound effects that come with it. Again, you can set your own voice effects. So if I wanted to do a robot, I don't know what this sounds like. So I'm going to I gotta press the key.
So now my voice should be very different. And I should sound like whatever a large robot preset sounds like.
Or I can add an echo. Do that. So let's go to a blank spot. So these here are empty. You can click one of those. And now I have sound, FX, mixer. If you know about MIDI, go for it. So if I want to add a different FX, click that. And now you see I have all these dials here. I can work with some of the presets down here, and I can change them. So I can hit echo here, the symbol for echo, and I can change the level of echo. I can change low cut, high cut, what kind of room it sounds like I'm in. Over here, again, clicking this knob takes you through the options. And then when you're done, you hit the check mark up top, and it saves that to that pad. And now I have, it says Effect 17. You can rename these. Just click it, name, and you can type in whatever you want. All right, I'm going to get rid of that. So clear. Can edit it, change the button color. So that's the pad. I don't have anything on 4 right now. But if I filled up 4, it would give me a 5, a 6, a 7, and 8 once I fill up those pads. Routing. Ooh boy. Wow, very robo. Nice. Oh, kitty. Hello. All right, cat's gonna be on camera. You gotta be on camera now. That's the rules. I know you don't like it, but you gotta be on camera. Such a good kitty. Hi, Hannah. Hi, Hannah. Yeah, you're a good kitty. I don't know what you're looking at. But okay, time to get down. The output channels I explained earlier that this device comes with are inputs and outputs. And that took me a while to get through, that they can function as both. You hit these, and I'll show you what this looks like. And this is cool. This is where some of the power magic comes in. So here, this is the mix you're hearing right now. The Duo main mix. That's the one that's in OBS. That's what you're hearing me through. And I go to output routing. Now, if you get one of these, my advice would just be go to custom. You don't have to, but mix minus takes the source out right away, but I just rather have custom. Since I don't have anything on these channels, I just took them out. I hit the X. I can bring them back in. But, there's nothing there, so I just left them out. And as you can see, I have the microphone input going into this channel. I have this channel going into this channel, so you can hear me. Again, it's an input and an output, so it's kind of got to be listed here. I have the chat channel and anything going to number 2. And then for the chat one, because this is going to be a dedicated chat channel, I don't want, so I bring in someone from Discord. I don't want them to hear themselves, so I take that out of the mix. So they can hear me talk. I can, of course, hear them. And then they can hear any sound effects or anything I have going into channel 2. And for channel 2, all I want is channel 2 to feed channel 2. So then you go into Windows, or in my case, I used Mixline. Let me pull it up here. So, as you can see, when I run Spotify, let me run Spotify again. Nope. Play. All right. So I have the Spotify going Rodecaster Duo secondary. I created the input. Or sorry, not that one. The plus here. And I could do it to stereo, but I don't want to. So I wanted the Spotify audio. My music channel is going to be the Rodecaster Duo secondary channel, right? So I have it all, the song's ending, so that's why it went weird like that. So this goes, so the Spotify app is going right into the Rodecaster Duo secondary channel, and the Rodecaster Duo secondary channel. The Rodecaster Duo secondary channel is the channel right here. Oops, I hit a button, sorry. Is the channel right here that you see active. I hope that makes sense. Was probably the easiest way I could explain that. And then if I want to, I can have Spotify playing, and I be able to hear it in my head. Yes, hi kitty. Yes, hello. I hear you. Yes, I know you're there. So I can have Spotify playing again. And oops, zoom out a little more. And then if I mute the channel, that's blue. Now you don't hear Spotify because I've muted it to everybody. But if I wanted to hear Spotify play, I should be able to do that. And then if I had my headphones hooked up to this bottom port here, I could isolate the channel, and I could just hear Spotify itself. But so Spotify is still playing. You can tell Spotify is playing by the thing in the upper right corner, by the widget. It's still going, but the track is muted to all of you until I do that again. Now I'll pause it, and I'll show you how to do this normally in Windows in case you don't use Mixline like I do. Okay, so you open your volume mixer. So normally what you would do if you were just using the Rodecaster Duo and, say a Windows screen, what you would normally do is, let's use Spotify for example, is you'd go here and then output an input device. You would set to the thing you want it to go to. So I have a lot of inputs we can ignore, but I have it going to Rodecaster Duo secondary, so that will be the output, Rodecaster Duo secondary, and it has to be the input as well, Rodecaster Duo secondary. So you would have to have both of these set at Rodecaster Duo secondary, unless you do magic with, Mixline like I do, or some other in-between routing software. The Rodecaster Duo was a different way of doing things, and it took a while for my brain to be able to process that. So I'm hoping I've explained that in a very less confusing way, because there isn't a lot of detail on doing it. They're just like, yeah, it works this way. You're like, wait, it works like that? Really? You just do that? And yeah. That's how it works. Now, going back to our fancy. Now, if I go in the software, everything I showed you I can mess with. You can mess with the display, how bright the buttons are, when it dims, audio metering. I like the broadcast. I like having the numbers on the screen, but you don't have to. And you can do all of this. You do all of this on the device. This is just an app that connects to the Rodecaster. All the stuff I was showing you on the screen to go to, you can control through this app called Rode Connect. Hey, JD Lady, welcome on in. So everything you see here, you can find on the hardware device itself. And haptics, if you want, haptic feedback, what the record button does, and we'll get into the record button again. But yeah, so theoretically, this could connect to an external sound system. Yes, exactly. Brightness, outputs. So here's your headphones. Now, you don't have to have the Rode headphones, but high sensitivity, low sensitivity, it kind of just does an auto volume adjust for you. The USB device, the USB things, at least 2 as both in and an out, because with number 2, I could take the audio from a second computer and run that into the Rodecaster Duo. And I'm thinking of having a whole other second setup for something else. I'll go over that in a minute as well. But yeah, so these are all the options you can find on the device itself. It just might be a little easier to see. There's monitor. If you connected speakers and you didn't want to listen via headphones, you could connect this. So when you talk, the speakers, go out, so people don't get the feedback from you. And you can do that with a Bluetooth mic, and you can fix the audio level. Routing, which we're going over. Again, you can also, this I found very important, you can adjust the mix going to your headphones. And since these are connected via Bluetooth, I don't want to hear myself. So I took my mic out of my mix. So I don't hear myself, but I hear all the other channels, right? I hear this channel, this channel. Actually, I can take these out because nothing's going on in them. But so then when I do the trombone, I hear the trombone because I have that going on right here. But yeah, so again, here's what we have. One, I want you to be able to hear me. So I have the mic going through this output, and this output here is what I chose to bring into OBS and what you're hearing me through in OBS. And so this channel hears all the active outputs. I tried mix minus and main mix, and none of these really worked for me, so I just went custom for all of them, because then I knew exactly what was going on. And I didn't have to, poke around weirdly. But yeah, so even the speakers, if you have, like I said, you can connect external speakers. You can set what goes out to those speakers. All right. Listen is when the green buttons on the fader that I was showing you earlier, when you're just in listen mode, do you hear the sound after the fader's been applied, or, before you apply the fader? Multi-track, again, recording USB. I couldn't get I may show this off next week. I couldn't get a SD card that will work with the Rodecaster Duo in time. Because you can plug an SD card into the back of this to record mixes internally to the machine. And speaking of internals, a bit of a rabbit hole, this does so much processing inside of it that you don't have to worry about, that your computer's not doing. Like I said, with the Shure SM7B that you can see the top of right here, you don't need extra hardware to boost the gain. You can do everything just by plugging it into Rodecaster Duo. It takes preamps, that's what they're called. It takes care of a lot of that preamp work for you, and that's brilliant. Processing, that does stuff, I'm sure. I don't know quite what yet. I've only had this a couple days, so. Display, again, brightness, we went over that. System, so MIDI control, if you're interested in controlling your OBS with the pads, you'll turn this on. Let's see here. Was it customize smart pads? Rodecaster. Okay, continue. So here I can go to an empty pad, click plus. And now in this software here is where I can go into my hard drive, choose a file, and associate the pad, this pad, with a sound file. Now you're not going to want to do a long music track, but if you want different sound files that are just that you have stored on your computer, this is where you do that. And this part you do have to use the software. Again, this is called Rode Connect. It's a separate download you do off the main Rode page. But yeah, so we're going to not do any of that. But effects, so reverb, echo, voice, and then all the things like that. So echo, and then I get to control the level of the echo, where it cuts, the delay, the decay, all that. So you don't need a separate soundboard software or anything. Rodecaster Duo takes care of it for you. I will... clear, right up here. Clear that. Yes, clear that pad. Again, audio setup. I can just drag these, so if I wanted the Bluetooth here, bam, now the Bluetooth's there. And then the button, let's get the camera, where did the camera go? There it is. Let's get the Droid Cam back up. So when I moved, let's move some windows around here. So as you can see, when I moved the Bluetooth connection the Bluetooth connections is blue. Again, you can change the color because these aren't permanent. You can move these around. These are your 4 sliders, and then these will be your virtual ones. So I had that on dial 2. I picked dial 2, and the button changed to that lighter blue that I had that button set at. Very, very easy. And you can see right down here, you can attach, you can link the 1 and 2 audio together. You can bring your headphone mix in as well. Wherever you want. Again, this main here, I chose this icon graphic because you can set up audio profiles for different shows. So every show you do, you can make a different audio profile for it. You can have different presets. All you have to do is go to that audio profile, hit the button. You don't have to memorize where audio settings were or anything. You just make a preset for it, whether it be a show or an amp preset. You can do that. But routing is the big thing to pay attention to. And then again, each one of these is associated with a mix, with a certain mix inside your computer. And that's easier to show on the screen here. So any output I want my computer to go to this channel on, I gotta set it to Rodecaster Duo main. As you can see right there, Rodecaster Duo main. So as long as I name both if I'm just using regular Windows input outputs, as long as I have both those named Rodecaster Duo main, that source, that audio, whether it be a game, whatever, will go to that channel. And having one channel do both input and output just blew my mind. I'm like, what? Wait, really? What? And these volume sliders feel great, by the way. Sliding them up and down, yeah, they're awesome. I like that you get 4, and then you have the knob over here for the virtual stuff, for the virtual pads. This knob right here. So if I hit the record button, I'd start recording to the SD card that I don't have there in the deck. Yeah, and you can display the time and date right here too. So it doesn't have to be blank. Just go to System and Date and Time, set language, info. Whether if you're using Wi-Fi or if you're plug in the wire to it to update the firmware. So show, I'm on the main show, right? There's no recordings of it or anything because I haven't hit record yet. I can import stuff, export the show out. I can rename this. I can change the icon. This is an icon that came with it. So I click that, and you can see I have pages of these icons, right? And then when you select an icon, usually the green check mark to verify a thing is in the upper right corner, and the red check mark or the red circle with the black X is over in the left corner. So it's consistent throughout every menu. And then say I want a new show, with different routings and everything. I just click new show, I make a new show, and then I can set all of my routing differently. So if I had the secondary channel for Spotify on my main show, say I'm doing Magical Girl Show X or something like that. I covered myself up. So for Magical Girl Show X, I could make a whole new thing, and then this button here, this doesn't have to be Spotify. Spotify could go here now, or wherever. And then every time I select that show, Spotify would always be over here. And you can even select what outputs go into that recording of the show that you can record to the internal SD card. And you can make it a multi-track recording. So not only do you have control over which... Gods, this is so fancy. Yeah, it is. So not only do you have control over which input goes in, but when you put them into an editor, you can see each track individually. So if you decide you don't want that Spotify track in after all, when you're editing, you can take that out. Because it's a separate track. You just remove it. Right? Or you can, modify it how you want. And so this is a very powerful device. It took me a couple days to really wrap my head around this, and I hope I have distilled the hours of information and videos I've watched down well enough so it makes sense. Yeah, so, I do want to go over the caveat of the buttons down a little bit lower here. These green and red buttons. These are listen and mute. Now, the headphone jack, that's right, about right here on the front of the device. You would need headphones plugged into here for these to work. It's just how it works. I can't do it through my Bluetooth connected AirPods. However, if I got one of those little Bluetooth boxes that would plug into a headphone jack, it would probably work that way. Because the headphones just have to be plugged into this front jack here. And then you can mute all the audio sources on a flyer. You can do it. You can do this virtually too with the virtual sources. This button. If I click over, you can kind of see I have a listen and a mute on that channel, and then I click the button again. Listen, mute in that channel. Listen, mute in that channel. So you can do it to your virtual outputs too. So the idea is you can mute the channel, and then no one can hear it. I'll do this one; it'll be better. So you can mute the channel, so no one can hear anything going into it. So say I have this channel set for my Discord audio, and I'm talking to people, and as long as I have my Discord audio, let me get this right. As long as I have my Discord audio, that is the purple button, set to Rodecaster Duo chat, because that'll associate with this button. I can hit that again, go back. If I don't want them to hear me, but I want you all to still hear me, I hit the mute button. Now, Discord can't hear me, but you can. And then I hit the green button, and now I'm listening to, and notice how it's lighter now. It lights up again. So now, if I had headphones plugged into here, I could still hear what they're saying in Discord without them hearing me. And then I can just unmute. And you can leave these green on if you want to. This is just kind of a listening button. Ooh, you can tell chat DM secrets. You could. Yeah. I could have, one AirPod in one ear, and then I could connect my headphones into the front jack, have this in another ear, so I could, mute that, and yeah, that's a lot of work. But you can, right? You can do that. You can totally do that. gear option. The thing next to it is that I'm not on Wi-Fi. I have a cord plugged in, so it's hardwired into the internet. This one tells you, your speakers, and then the Bluetooth, the record button. Hit the settings gear. Hit the settings gear. There we go. And once again, you get all the things I was showing you in the software, like the smart pad control in the software. Yeah, that's right here. And when you first turn this on, you're greeted with a series of menus that, ooh, it's a little crooked, isn't it? Try to straighten it out a bit. You hit a series of menus and it will auto set up everything. So I didn't set up these pads over here. These are called pads, by the way. Those happened with the preset. So chimes came with it, but I can delete the chimes thing. I can make this whatever I want. Right? All I have to do is click it here, and now I can change the color, I can rename it, I can edit it to something else, or I can just clear the pad. So yeah, it's weird to me that I can control I could control OBS through there through this as well if I wanted to. Now, personally, I don't want to do that. It takes a little setting up. If someone wants me to do that ever, let me know. I'll do it. Basically use MIDI inputs, right? And the MIDI will send little computer code back and forth, and you set OBS up to understand MIDI code, and you do a couple other things, and it goes, oh, you associated this pad with, doing this in OBS. Yay. There's even a way to get the Stream Deck to control these pads and to do stuff like mute channels. If the Rodecaster Duo wasn't right next to me, like my keyboard is over here, right? Like Rodecaster here, keyboard right here. So if the Rodecaster was away from me, I could set up the Stream Deck so that I could have some control over the Rodecaster to mute channels and do other things. Again, using MIDI, and there's a guy that figured all this out and figured out what channels to do, and I don't want to go over that because he has a PDF available for $5 that he'd like people to buy and all that. So, yeah. But those options are out there if you want to use them. And, I still love the Mixline software, so I was happy I could still use Mixline to get all the audio routed the way I want to. Like, again, all of my audio in Windows, in the Windows... Oops, sorry about that. All my audio in the... where did I put the thing? There we go. So all my audio according to Windows says it's all default. And then I open up Mixline, and I tell Mixline where I want things to go. Let's just maximize the screen. Hey, and let's get rid of me. Spotify, again, Rodecaster Duo Secondary is also an input. Rodecaster Duo Secondary, right there. It's also an input, and it's an output. Look at that. Here, let me get rid of the Spotify widget just for a moment here. And it's also an output, so be wary of that. As you can see, I can select whatever I want here. And then, so I have Spotify going to that secondary channel, right? And I also have it going to my AirPods because I want to hear it through my AirPods. Now the AirPod channel is off because right now I'm listening to the AirPods through the Rodecaster Duo and not through my computer because I wanted to hear the sound effects if I made a sound effect go off, like, the rim shot. I can hear that. But yeah. So if you have Bluetooth headphones, at least AirPods can only receive from one spot at a time, essentially. You're either hearing them through you're either hearing the AirPods, you connect the AirPods through Windows, or you're hearing the AirPods through what's connected to Rode, basically. And so, yeah. So I have it set that if I'm listening to my computer, that I can hear things going through the mix to the AirPods here. But yeah, so you notice I have the game Vampire Survivors. It can go to my regular speakers. It can go to the AirPods. And it goes to the Rodecaster Duo main studio thing. And you just, here's all my outputs. And if I wanted, because I have the Stream Deck Plus and I have Wavelink software, I also have all these Wavelink outputs. Right? And if I wanted to use those, I could add those into OBS. Now, none of the Wavelink things would necessarily go through Rodecaster. At least I don't think so. I wonder if I could make that happen. That'd be weird, right? No, that'd be too much connecting things to things, and that'd be weird repetition of things. But you could. That'd just be odd at that point. But if I wanted more audio channels in OBS than the 3 or 4 I get with the Rodecaster Duo, I could. And then I could set the mix. It's all about how you want to set the mix at that point. Right? If you want the mix going through Rodecaster. Again, if you have a Rodecaster, you probably want just to use everything going into Rodecaster so you can use the handy record features of the Rodecaster Duo. But again, I'm all about letting you know options. So there are options. Yeah, but I do like the idea of just being able to have one solid audio mix that you can manipulate in so many delightful ways.